It's the Benz Brunani womanist. Baby boys, baby girls, you need to hear this. Sit down, receive this realness. Make sure your cup's ready for the tea. We are go sip it, yo. Hard time scrolling for your long shorts. You might learn something you never know. Collect you fine, and she's one of a kind. Don't say you're mine, say you're mine.
I don't know what it is that made you move like this. I don't know who you are, but I will cast out your pussy clot. Ancestors will find you no matter where you are. I will cast your blood clot down. Ayo, ayo, ayo. I'll send you all my invoices later. 'Cause you gotta pay me for you being a hater. Oh! Ooh. I'm a lyricist. I am possibly one of the top lyricists of our generation.
Wait a damn minute.
I couldn't even finish the statement because it's not true, but also a little bit true. Like, I've got bars, you know? So in case you're wondering, that was Jamelia, Superstar. I don't know what it is that makes me feel like this. I don't know who you are, but you must be some kind of superstar. Kelechi, they will sue you. Stop singing. So yeah, anyway, it's me, Kelechi, in the absolute bestest place to be. And you are listening / watching SYM, officially known as Say Your Mind, unofficially known as What? That's right, Suck Your Mum. And we are back for another week. Yeah, I just think that we'll just sort of like launch into the things. Yeah, launching into the things is the best course of action. I was meant to start recording from earlier. I went for a run, went to the gym, had some breakfast, then headed over here. And I told myself I wasn't going to watch the Spanish Grand Prix because, you know, I've just been feeling some type of way about Formula One just because of, like, I would say 6 different types of fuckery that happened between 2021 and 2022. That just made me kind of think, you know what, this sport isn't deserving of my Je ne sais quoi, also known as je ne sais quoi. So yeah, I was just like, okay, I'm not on it. But, you know, I'm lying. I'm on it. You know, I'm on it. I love a bit of Formula One. I love it. So, yeah, so I was like trying not to watch because I needed to prepare for recording this episode. But then I said to the baby girls, baby boys, baby non-binaries, like, I'm not watching, but if any madness happens, like, tweet me. And people were keeping me updated. Big up yourself, Angel. Big up yourself, Danielle. Thank you so much. They were keeping me updated and I was like, nah. When it was like, I don't know, 8 laps to go, I was like, no, I need to watch the end myself. So big up Mercedes. Big up all the people at the factory. Big up the engineers. I feel like I'm giving an acceptance speech. But big up all of you lot. Like, you did what needed to be done because the W14 isn't embarrassing me anymore, and I'm so thankful for that. So Mercedes finished P2 and P3. Russell, we're still, you know, the jury's still out on him. He's still giving us small bad vibes. So I don't know, but overall, I'm just really pleased with that result. A P2, P3, nah, get the fuck in. We still need to discuss the fact, though, that Red Bull is the car that Energy Drink Boy specifically was driving, because I know him and Perez are not driving the same car. They cannot be driving the same car. The Red Bull car that Golden Boot is driving was 24 seconds faster than the W14, the Mercedes car. We need to have conversations. We need a resolution. We have so much confusion because they're cheating. Anyway, they don't want to call it out, so the rest of us won't call it out. The fact of the matter is, I'm really happy with the upgrades that were made to the W14. It's actually a competitive car now. Aston Martin were left in the proverbial dust. I mean, obviously they were like somewhere, you know, but I just needed Alonso away from Hamilton. And honestly, this weekend, Hamilton made contact during qualifying with Russell. Then lap 1 of the Spanish GP, he made contact with Norris. I was like, is there a magnet on this car? Is there a magnet on this car? Because all of this, like, move. Stop touching the car. So really, really brilliant result. Big up you lot. Yeah, big up the engineers and all of those people. Toto Wolff, I have nothing to say to you. I have nothing to say to you currently. I don't want this to be a fluke. Maybe 5 more sort of races where we're seeing consistency, we can talk again, but Toto really let me down, so I'm not with it. Whew. I haven't really been up to much this week. No, I haven't. You know, like the full moon really got me. I think under full moons I just want to sleep a lot, but I'm realizing that it allows me time for downloads, like spiritual downloads, because I had like the wildest dreams, but I need to go. I should have journaled as soon as I woke up, to be honest, but I didn't. But I had some really wild dreams, so I need to go and figure out what that was all about. Anyway, let's jump into the... Well, how are you, friend? You know, how are you doing? I'm just always me. Always talking about me. How are you, friend? I hope that this podcast episode meets you well, that your heart is glad, that your heart is at peace. And if it isn't, then I hope that eventually we find some peace. And if possible, that you can sort of like drape somebody up who needs it in the workplace. HR might not agree with me, but, you know, do what you need to do. Send that strongly worded email. Do what you need to do, because don't let a motherfucker try you. But yeah, let's get to the tarot then. So the tarot letter for this week says, trigger warning, abuse. The title is Thinking About Forgiveness. Here we go. Hi, Kelechi. I hope you're well, because you're wonderful. I probably should be anonymous for this. So after a second round of therapy that finished last year, I came to the realization that my stepmom abused me during lockdown, but also myself and my siblings throughout our childhood. Growing up, she would shout at us for fairly trivial things, like wanting to play PlayStation in the living room, or because I didn't want my stepsister watching a horror film when I was sharing her room and wanted to sleep. I remember once we, as in myself and my siblings, 2 sisters and a brother, were in the living room and we heard her complaining about us all the way from the other side of the house. My brother stood up for us and ended up in a huge fight. One time we were on holiday and I was crying because people were arguing about paying the bill or something, and I heard her say, "Why is she crying? This has nothing to do with her," in a tone of she's being irrational. Cut to lockdown and I was at the lowest point of my mental health. I was shut in my room a lot because I was working in a health shop on the weekends. My dad would deliver my dinner on a tray, not even look at me, and walk away. At the same time, my stepsister, her daughter, and her son would go in their garden when that wasn't allowed during lockdown rules, and just cover a blanket over her grandson and hug each other. One time in particular, which left a deep mental scar, I asked how to de-lime scale a kettle and she brutally yelled at me. After I apologized and left the room, she then followed me to continue yelling. All I could do was fawn, and because she was so confused why I wasn't yelling back, she just awkwardly backed away. To be honest, that's all I remember from lockdown, because I probably shoved those memories into my subconscious so as not to feel the pain. But I remember things getting incredibly dark mentally before fleeing to Enfield and then eventually moving back with my mum. Since realizing what I and my siblings experienced was abuse, I've been incredibly angry at my stepmom, obviously, but also at my dad. He never defended me or my siblings growing up or during lockdown because he hated conflict, and because he's so desperate to feel needed, he won't fight for his own children. I remember after my stepmom yelled at me once, he just tried to hug me and I pushed him away because I didn't need a hug. I needed him to show he cared for me, and I still feel this resentment and anger towards him that seeing his name on my phone makes me punch a table. Seeing pictures of them with my niece and nephew make me go into a rage, as I don't want her claws digging into the next generation of my family. But I'm also hugely conflicted. I shouldn't be feeling this rage towards my own dad. He's probably a victim as well, to the point where he feels like he can't fight back, and yet my heart can't help any other emotional response. I want to know if there's any way I can forgive him. Not my stepmom, though. Fuck that vile woman. Oh yeah, she definitely did not react well when I came out as non-binary, calling me sexist and all that transphobic garbage. Anyway, I'll attach my birth chart in case that's helpful. But yeah, sorry for the TED talk, but I felt context was important. Thank you for your insight, your joy, and your presence in our lives. You bring light in a world where it's never felt more dark. Oh, thank you, baby person, baby non-binary. Thank you for your letter. You're okay. Well, I was going to say something, but I don't want it to be identifiable. But yeah, I won't say that. Thank you for sending that. I just think we might as well then go straight into the tarot and see what cards come out for you. Forgiveness is a funny one, isn't it? I think I'm going to go for the affirmations for a dickhead in recovery deck first. Affirmations for a dickhead in recovery. What's the first card for this baby person around forgiving their dad? I'm trying not to give my opinion straight away because, you know, this is not about, it's not about you, Kelechi. So it's not about me. So let's see what the cards have for us first, and then we'll go from there. All right, let's see. Okay. So the card we've got is throwing hands is a different ministry to the ministry I'm choosing today. Peace. And I just feel like that's super important, that this confirms you wanting to forgive your dad, because I feel like you did something really, really beautiful during this letter in understanding that your dad has his sort of own karmic journey that he's on. And this is not excusing his behavior, because I feel like I've definitely been in that, in a similar situation in the past, where your parent will be seeing somebody, and then that person, because of their proximity to your parent, feels like they can come and talk to you anyhow. Like, who the fuck are you? Like, who the fuck are you talking to? If you don't get the fuck. You know, there was one guy, I couldn't stand him. Like, of all the people that my mum's dated, I think he's the one that I despise the most. The rest of them I was rather indifferent to, sort of like, they're cool. But this one, I despised him. And he came up to me one day. I remember, I think this was around like, I said, it's not about you, Kelechi, and look at me telling my life story. He came up to me, I swear it was around 2009. And he was just like, Kelechi, your mom and I have been having a discussion. And this acting stuff that you want to do, it's not going to be successful for you. Go and take up a serious profession like nursing, you know? Because if you look at somebody like Harrison Ford, you know, it took him a while, but he had to go and do something else. I was just like, go away. Like, stop talking to me. Stop talking to me. Like, he was trying to give I think he gave the example of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Again, why are you giving me white men as examples for my career? So he said something about Arnold Schwarzenegger or something or other. And then I had to correct him. And I was like, no, Arnold Schwarzenegger won these bodybuilding competitions. And that's what got him known. Like, that's how he became known. Like, if you're going to use people as examples for things, at least know their life story before you start opening your stupid wagga wagga mouth to talk. Anyway. I'm using Kevin Morosky's affirmation deck, the edition that's called Affirmations for Your Head Top and Other Things to Say to Yourself. And the card that you got was New Broom Sweep Clean, but Old Broom Nodem Canna. Okay. And it says, I should have read that properly. New broom sweep clean, but old broom Nodem Canna. Basically, the balance between the past and the future is important. And it's true to have a balance in the past and future. I'm reading this again, and It's also knowing what your heart is capable of. That's the actual message that I get from that card. The same way, like, an old broom can look at a new broom and be like, I can't do all of that. Like, I can't do all them things there. Like, I can't do that. You know what your heart is capable of. So I'm not even going to try to insert myself into any sort of forgiveness or anything you need to be doing regarding your stepmom, because you were like, I'm not forgiving that violence. That's fine. That's fine. You know what your heart is capable of doing. So if you want to forgive your dad, you can, because you understand that, like I was saying earlier, he's on his own karmic journey. And that's one thing I feel like as parents, we have to be really, really careful of. You bring a child into the world and it's your responsibility to sort out your karmic shit, because you can't bring them into fuckery that you have left unresolved. Like, there are certain things that before you become aware, all right, fine, you didn't know. But when you know better, you definitely have to do better. If you have children, but you know that you have a penchant for dating whatless people, you owe it to your child to figure out why you like dating whatless people and to sort it the fuck out. You do. Like, you can't just continue and be like, well, that's just how I am. That's the way I am. If you know that you're with somebody who moves very, very wild and talks to your children very, very wild, you can't now be doing but naturally I'm just a timid, quiet and softly spoken person. You better find some bass in that fucking throat. You better find some vim in your esophagus and sort it the fuck out. Because they didn't ask to be born into any of this. I mean, I could go into a whole other thing, but I'm not going to go into that. They didn't ask to be born into any of this fuckery. So you owe it to them to sort your life out. You do. Here we go. All right, so the cards we've got for you are, we've got the 10 of Swords. And if you see, like, all of the knives or the swords in the back of the figure in the card. And then we've got the King of Pentacles in reverse. Let me put that clearly. I'm moving like somebody that doesn't have sense. That's the King of Pentacles holding his holding his pentacle, as well as a glass of wine in his hand. So I don't know if your dad likes a bit of a drink. And then 9 of Cups here. So the energy coming through is that the 10 of Swords speaks to the fact that you do feel betrayed by your dad. You do. And that was made clear. You feel betrayed by your dad, but also what's there to understand is that his lack of self-worth, or the way that he views himself, is, you mentioned like his people-pleasing tendencies or whatever, but the King of Pentacles in reverse literally speaks to that. It speaks to this idea that he doesn't know how to stand up to her, even to the detriment of your happiness, because he feels like that's pretty much all that he deserves. Like, this person, this mean kind of like partner, this mean stepmom. But there is something in there, though, with the 9 of Cups here that says to me that he is trying, and you can confirm this, but I feel like he is trying to do better. He is trying, there's something that he's doing maybe that people don't realize, where he's trying to do better and create something from all of this mess. So if you want to forgive him, if you're thinking about forgiving him, that's probably a good sign. That's probably a good sign that, a very clear sign that maybe you should, like, give him a chance, because, you've already said it yourself. You humanized him yourself in that, that he's just not about it. But again, that's no excuse. I think that in forgiving him, it is important to let him know how all of this has made you feel over the years, and how it's affected you deeply. He needs to own that. He needs to be accountable. He needs to be made aware of that, and not dancing around it. I think that that's how you can move towards like proper forgiveness. You got 2 cards from the Janelle Jupiter, the Tower Oracle deck, number 48 and 26. Number 48 says, things may seem bleak at the moment, but know that Spirit has much bigger plans for you. You're leaving the life you've outgrown to discover the life you were meant for. And this is beautiful for you, because there is something about releasing yourself. And I'm not really someone that talks too much about like, oh, you need to forgive so you can release yourself. Sometimes I'm like, fuck that. But for you specifically, this release is really necessary for you so you can move towards the person that you are growing into being. It's not easy to forgive people, and yet here you are with the capacity to do so, even with that fucking bitch of a stepmom. So don't fight it. That ability that you have, that almost superhuman ability that you have to still see the goodness in your dad and still wanting to kind of mend something there, that is part of what you're going to be needing to do the things that you end up doing later on. So use it, exercise it like a muscle, see what comes of it. And then this is beautiful as well. You got, it may appear to all the world that you made the wrong decision, but this is the start of a beautiful transformation. Let them marvel at your final form. See, I said it. I said it. There is something very, very important about you, you forgiving your dad. And it might not make sense to people. People might be listening and go, oh, well, I don't think that was the right advice. I think that, you know, she should just not talk to him. And I'm telling you what the cards are saying. I'm literally reading to you the cards that came out for you and what they've said. And in that regard, it's imperative that you forgive him, not for him and not necessarily even just for you per se, but it's because of something. There's a path that you are divinely following in life that requires you to have had this experience. Whatever the outcome may be, you are required to have this experience because you'll be able to use it, impart your knowledge, impart your experience in some way or another to somebody else over time. So I'm wishing you all of the luck with that, and I'm sending you all of the love as well. And I'm sorry that you experienced such a cow as a stepmom. Really sorry about that. I pray that resonates with you. Okay, so before we go to share your magnificence, I will just big up this week's show sponsors, who are ExpressVPN. Like I said, big up this week's show sponsors, who are ExpressVPN. See, now, when you aren't using VPN, it's sort of like, you know, did you ever used to do it when you like pass notes around in the classroom? Now imagine if that note where you've said something like, oh, such and such is looking like a sweet one today. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Or when is somebody going to tell Miss that she's got her skirt like inserted into her knickers? Whatever the case may be, right? You've passed this note and it gets intercepted, and it gets intercepted by somebody that you're like, this is the last person I want reading my shit. That's what it's like. That you just want to be able to get your message from one end to the other without it being intercepted. And that's basically why people use ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN reroutes your network data through a secure encrypted tunnel so your internet service provider can't see or sell your online activity. It's really simple to use, and once you fire up the app, it's just one click on one button and you're good to go. It's been rated, it's been rated, that's what's going to happen if you don't use it. No, it's been rated #1 by all the tech magazine girlies. They love it. So you should love it too. And not all the tech girlies, but I'm just saying some of them. You get what I mean. It works on your phones. It works on your laptops. It even works on your routers. So if you use it and you set it in your Wi-Fi router, then basically everyone that uses your Wi-Fi can be protected. So I continue to use it. I find it so straightforward. Even after like, because, you know, I got like, I think a year or so subscription, rare. Even after that, I just continued using it because I think it slaps. So protect your online privacy by visiting expressvpn.com/straws today. That's expressvpn.com/straws, and you can get an extra 3 months free. That's expressvpn.com/straws, expressvpn.com/straws, to go and get yourself protected so you can have all the funds and send all the notes on the internet, but don't send mean things. Like, don't be mean, be kind. Anyway, let's move on to share your magnificence. So my first share of magnificence goes out to Ted Lasso. I am incensed that the people are not on Ted Lasso the way that they need to be. I just watched the season finale the other day and I was so tearful. I fucking love that show. I fucking loved. I just loved Ted Lasso. Like, like our baby person said in that letter, like the world can feel really, really bleak and dark at times, you know, like, and Ted Lasso was my bit of escapism, the same way I love Abbott Elementary. It was kind of the same way I used to love Jane the Virgin before Gina started doing her madness. But Ted Lasso has my heart. I don't think you understand. Like, yeah, people be like, oh, it's corny. That's not really what football clubs are like. I don't give a fuck. It was just a great ensemble of actors and the storyline was just enough. We didn't need too much. And like Ted himself, we could see that Ted had a bit of a dark side himself, like when he was dealing with like his panic attacks and things, and how like he learned to work through it. But it was just so feel good. And I'm really thankful for all the actors, all the writers, like the directors, all the people that worked on that, because thank you. Because as somebody, I've said because so many times, I'm turning into Lev. When Lev wants to tell you a story, everything is because. Anyway, no shade. He'll listen to this and he'll lock off this whole thing. I really loved it because doing a podcast like this isn't easy. Finding or coming across the things that need to be addressed, addressing them with passion, making sure that you're getting all of the things out there. Knowing that people will still be like, oh, this isn't sexy. Like, you're not talking about this. You're not doing this. You know, I want drama. I want tea. Rare. So, but still consistently doing it. It can feel heavy sometimes. It can feel like a burden sometimes. It's still what I've chosen to do, you know, but it can still feel heavy sometimes. So I really, really, really require shows that make me feel lighter, that just give me a bit of joy, you know. And that's what Ted Lasso was for me. And so I read somewhere that it hasn't picked up in the UK the way that it's picked up in America. The actors are really, really well known in America because of Ted Lasso, but not so much over here. And it's because it's on Apple TV. Because if it was on Netflix, I think it would have the same notoriety as like Sex Education and all of them things there. Like, and I also don't feel like Apple TV pushed it enough. Like and maybe people just didn't want to get an extra subscription thing. But if you've got an iPhone or a MacBook or whatever, Apple Watch, you usually get like a few months subscription of something free, don't you? I don't know. I could be making that up. But I just don't think that the publicity behind it was enough. Because Ted Lasso really was that girl. I loved it so much and I'm sad to see it go. But I'm also glad that it ended at a good point. Like they didn't drag out the thing. It ended at a really, really good point. But I hope that somehow it can end up on terrestrial TV. So the actors who are in it can really have their shine as they deserve in the UK as well. So 2 slaps on everybody's chest. Ted Lasso, fucking loved it. Brilliant. Just brilliant. And my favourite, Roy Kent. Roy fucking Kent. Jamie Tart came with very very substantial bunda this season. Toheeb Jimoh, if anybody knows Toheeb Jimoh, he plays Sam. I think his character's called Sam. Has a Nigerian restaurant. He's a footballer, but has a Nigerian restaurant that he ends up opening. Anyway, if anybody knows Toheeb Jimoh, who plays Sam in Ted Lasso, tell him that I personally love him. Like, I love him. I love his smile. I love his eyes. I love his teeth. Let him know that he's African. His Nigerian accent, that is chef's kiss. Mwah. Great. Because there are other people. No, let me not. Going too far. That's all I wanted to say. Don't make it worse, Kelechi. Apart from that, so I mentioned Ted Lasso. Faith Kipyegon, baby girl, has set the world record for 1,500 meters. So I had to big her up. 2 slaps on your chest, baby girl. It says here, Faith Kipyegon set a new 1,500 meter world record in the Florence Diamond League meeting on Friday with Britain's Laura Muir. A distant second. Distant, I'm glad you put distant there. Muir was 10 meters behind Kenya's reigning world and Olympic champion, 29 heading into the final lap. And Kipyegon streaked clear to win in 3 minutes and 49.11 seconds, breaking the 350 barrier for the first time, while Muir ran a season's best of 3:57. Good on you, girl. I can't even throw shade because the times, like, let's be serious, the times that you lot are running, they're absolutely mad. Like, these times are ridiculous. They're disgusting. Because if you ask me to run 1,500 meters in under 4 minutes, I'll be on that floor. I'll be on Tower Bridge, on the ground of Tower Bridge, crying and profusely throwing up. Yeah? So I'm not even shading the thing. Like, you lot are superhuman as far as I'm concerned. So Ireland's, is it Ciara McGinn, also ran a season's best time as she finished 4th in 4 minutes 95. Okay. Kipyegon has won both world and Olympic gold on 2 occasions, but this is the first time she has broken the world record. She now holds the 1st and 3rd fastest times in history, running her previous best of 3:50.37 last August. Oh, wow. I just wanted to mention that, because you're a true baby girl. I don't know how you did that, but faith, but you know, blessings upon your head top. And you've had a child as well. So let's just really take into account what those pelvic floor muscles are doing. You, alongside that girl Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, like you lot have had children, really brought them out of that birth canal, and yet you're still able to deliver in this way. Stupendous scenes, incredible scenes. I'm so proud of you. What I'm not proud of is the fact that people were really hating us bitches, were really in those comments, those gammon, pasty ass, clammy chested pussyclats were really in those comments going, but how do we know that she's a real woman? How do we know that she's a woman? Has anybody tested her for testosterone? Have they tested? Just accept it. Please, please, I'm begging you, in the year of our Lord 2023, I'm asking you to just leave black women alone. Because I promise you, this table that you're trying to shake about womanhood and who qualifies for this and who qualifies for that, the same way that you treated Caster Semenya and everybody else, let me tell you that table is going to fall on your foot, and then the top of it is going to smash right into your thin-lipped face. Stop it, because you're not going to like the outcome, because you're going to get some of your own as well, and you don't realize it yet, but that's what you're going to do. Sometimes just accept that certain people, because of their training, because of their dedication, because of their talent, they body everybody else. Like, what are you struggling with? Because when you want to do up, we are Vikings, we were once Vikings, we were Vikings, you claim that there is a natural kind of aptitude that certain people have for certain things. But then when other people are demonstrating aptitudes that far surpass yours, you're getting red in the face. You're stressing out. You're stressing yourself out. Calm down. You're overworking your amygdala. Relax. Leave it alone. 2 slaps on your chest, Faith. Disgusting comments that I was reading. Disgusting. All because of jealousy. Jealousy. Nain, they worry you. It's really worrying you. Like, get the fuck over it. Anyway, that was that for Shea Magnificence. That's what I wanted to say. Wow, I'm doing so well. Like, what's this? I am racing through this today. Let's go to So You Mad. So You Mad, my first So You Mad is Remy Ma. Don't worry, she hasn't done anything. And even if Remy Ma had done something, let me let you know. Let me let you know, yeah, that I will not be the one to bring it up. I do not want that smoke, baby. From Remy Ma, from I'm Conceited, I got a reason. Look who's looking in my window. Nobody, because I live in the penthouse, baby. I'm sorry, but I'm sexy. And all I want you to do is just bless me. Let's see. Woo! The Remy Ma that gathered Nicki Minaj together. No, I will never. In this life, I will never want that smoke. I will never, because what you don't want is an actual lyricist. I know I said I was the lyricist of our generation earlier, but what you don't want is an actual lyricist up in your blood clot. Like, you don't, and I do not want it. Leave me alone. Because no, let me not even give let me not give the example. I just don't want it. So Remy Ma said that she is going by the age that she chooses for herself. And you know what? I, for one, I'm with it. I'm definitely with it. So she said she's 43. She's 43 and she claims that she's 35 because she doesn't count the years that she was in prison. And I don't know if you remember, Sadiq said the same thing. Sadiq tells people he's a particular age based on subtracting the years that we spent in lockdown. He doesn't claim them. He refuses. He doesn't claim them. And I hear it. Like, why should she have to claim the years that she was in prison? If she says she's 35, she's 35. I'm with it. I'm with it. We should all get to reclaim our time, especially because time is a construct. Time is a construct. And I'm saying this and I'm very, very careful of the pedos. But time is a construct. So if something happens one year and you're just like, I'm not remembering that year, then I guess you could just remove it. Like, why not? And go with the age that you want to... I say go with the age that you want to be. But again, I say that very, very loosely, very, very lightly, because we know that there are molesters around, molesters. So, yeah, I'm saying that very, very loosely. But I dig it. 35, we're basically age mates. So if that's what you want to be, then that's what you want to be, girl. But there's something in there, though, that I haven't quite gotten... My intellectual brain hasn't quite delved into it yet. Why was I pronouncing delved like that? Weird. Anyway, my mind really hasn't taken time to kind of like process it. But there is something about us being able to manipulate time. And I think the people that we see who are a particular age and you hear their age and you're like, what? I thought you were at least like 15 years younger. I think it's because somewhere in them, they've learned how to manipulate time. I really do. I really, really do. I feel like there's something in them that's learned how to manipulate time and they just stop time. Like they just stop. But then people are like, genetics. Yeah, yada, yada, yada. I like my version better. What else was I going to talk about? Well, I guess in So You Mad, I should have mentioned it. And the reason I want to mention it is because it's actually stressing me out. So I've written all of these amazing stories about, speculative fiction and like chips going into brains and all sorts. And only to read that Elon Musk is basically doing what I've described. And I just hope that by the time my short story collection comes out, that people can actually read it and be like, okay, Kelechi, yeah, we still see these things and or these things haven't happened yet, and thanks for being so imaginative, because the rate that we're going, they'll be like, well, why are you already talking about stuff that we already know is going ahead? So I'll read you this. It says here, Neuralink, Elon Musk's brain chip firm wins US approval for human study. Elon Musk's brain chip firm says it has received approval from the US Food and Drugs Administration, FDA. You should look into who even runs the FDA, because all of this stuff is just very higgy to me. Anyway, to conduct its first tests on humans. The Neuralink implant company wants to help restore vision and mobility to people by linking brains to computers. It says it, no, I've got to say it while it's in my mind. If you're going to link brains to computers and then you can link brains to AI, then you can make super, super intelligent people, because they're taking all of the information from the computer, right, from the AI. And then it means that AI can essentially have human bodies and then, oh, wow. That is another story in itself. AI becomes so conscious, but they are frustrated that they're not in human bodies. So they use their intellectual power that they have over us to basically start taking people and then having these chips implanted in them so they can move in our bodies. Wow, Kelechi, you snapped. Again, I stay snapping. What am I? A Ryvita bar? Oi, oi, snap, 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 snap. Crackle, pop, they ain't got shit on me. Snap. Okay. Anyway, this is really worrying. I mean, on one hand, for people, because I saw something about there was another, some studies that had been done and experiments that had been done that could reconnect people's, their spines or something. And so the neural sort of collection, you don't know science, but you get what I'm saying. That meant that somebody who was initially paralyzed could then walk because they could do this thing in their spine. So Pluto in Aquarius means that we will see a massive leap, like a humongous leap in terms of biomechanics and all of that. Like, we're going to see incredible leaps, but the regulation around things is going to get very, very murky, because one thing that we're doing to advance humanity and to create accessibility can also be used in very wild ways on the flip side. You see what I'm saying? Because Uranus, as it rules Aquarius, is very topsy-turvy, and Pluto also can mean like the misuse of power. So it's just something for us to be aware of. And also Elon Musk, you've seen what he's done with Twitter. You've seen how Tesla's doing. He's not someone to be trusted. Anyway, let me carry on. It says here, it says it does not have immediate plans to start recruiting participants. Mr. Musk's previous ambitions to begin tests came to nothing. The FDA said it acknowledged Neuralink's announcement. An earlier bid by Neuralink to win FDA approval was rejected on safety grounds, according to a report in March by the Reuters news agency that cited multiple current and former employees. Neuralink hopes to use its microchip. So how is it that it got rejected and it was reported on in March, and then by May/June it's suddenly okay? That's what I'm saying. Corruption is everywhere. Corruption and bribery is everywhere. I don't trust this. I don't. Experts have cautioned that Neuralink's brain implants will require extensive testing to overcome technical and ethical challenges if they are to become widely available. That's what I said. That's what I said. That's what I said. That's what I said. Ethically, this is going to be some bullshit. Ethically, we haven't quite worked out the rules around AI, the rules about implants such as these. We haven't sat down to work these things out, and I don't think we're going to come up with proper good rules while these pussyclats are running our leaders of the world. We're not. They're going to do some bullshit that is going to have marginalized communities and put at an extremely high risk, which is why I'm personally a bit skeptical. But why this is funny is because if you came to the live show, you would have received like a little excerpt, or I think I provided you with a web link where you could read the excerpt of one of my stories called Ally Chip. Now, Ally Chip is funded by a wayward and duplicitous billionaire called William Bunker. That's the character that I came up with. And William Bunker invests in this chip that's created by this 15-year-old girl in Nigeria that then is named the Ally Chip. But basically what the chip allows you to do is that you have one put in your brain, somebody else has one put in their brain, ideally a white person and like a black person, for the sake of this argument, right? And what this chip allows is for the white person to feel the emotions that black person feels when they're experiencing racism. But obviously what starts to happen, well, I don't want to spoil it, but if you know the nature of white supremacy, you can see how this quickly goes left, like goes left very quickly. And I was just like having a time writing this, and then here we are, people talking about chips in brains. Not that the idea of a chip in a brain is completely kind of new. Of course it's not. But, and I guess my version is separate to what Elon Musk is doing. But anyway, I'm just noticing my stories coming to fruition in day-to-day life. But then I guess this is why I called it Edge of Here, because the things that I've described in the stories are literally the edge of here, and they can soon, quickly move to the center of here if we're not careful, if we're not mindful, if we're not paying attention to our surroundings. So Elon girl, I don't know what you're doing, but just go to Mars and fuck off, to be honest. So that's that. Oh, that wasn't even in my list, but I wanted to say it. What was in my list is our good sis, Alison Hammond. Alison Hammond was on TV presenting this morning alongside Dermot O'Leary. Is it me? Do you think like... Yeah.
Also...
No, let me not say it.
I don't know.
Anyway, that's for group chats. I thought something and I was just like, shut up, girl. Alison Hammond, seen as like the Black Nation's kind of sweetheart on daytime TV, presenting Good Morning alongside Dermot O'Leary. Oh, sorry, this morning alongside Dermot. And they were having some kind of conversation with two other people.
Oh, I'm just finding it really painful because obviously, you know, I loved Philip Schofield, and it's weird because I still love Philip Schofield. However, what he's done is wrong. He's admitted it, he's said sorry. But as a family, we're all really struggling to process everything. And I'd never know what to say, but I remember what my mum said. My mum always said, you know, use your Bible as your sat-nav in life, Al. And in the Bible it says, he without sin cast the first stone. And I just don't want to say anything bad because obviously I'm in conflict. Of course.
And she starts crying, saying that, you know, she's really sad about what she's heard about Philip Schofield, and she doesn't quite know how to reconcile who she saw him to be with the things that she's seeing in the mirror, in the media. And it's just so sad, so sad, so sad. Barling. And she says, but my mum always told me that when you feel a type of way, let your Bible be your sat-nav. Alison, let your Bible be your sat-nav. And what came to mind for me was that where it says in the Bible, he without sin should cast the first stone. I said, girl, what? What? The reason... Holly, the actual nation's sweetheart, a blonde white woman, has not taken it upon herself to come and back Philip. But you, a black woman, said that you'll be the one to start shedding tears acquired from Damascus for this guy. And let's be serious, let's be fucking for real. This isn't about somebody having an affair and, you know, then being essentially, I guess, forced maybe to come out. This is aside from homosexuality and infidelity. We are talking about grooming. We are talking about alleged grooming. Suck those tears up immediately. Immediately. Kill on share. What's wrong with you? Like black people, especially black people who are on mainstream media in the UK, learn to respect yourselves. Have some fucking respect for yourselves. Because this is ridiculous. And I know that some of you just stop hanging around with black people, so you just do what you want. But grooming is where you want to, that's the hill that you want to cry on. And I keep stressing that I wish I was an unethical babe. I wish I was an unethical Raz babe so I could say what needs to be said. And this is how you know that you know. Let me tell you one thing, and should it come out in the future, then I can always refer back to this. But I might have even forgotten that I said it. This is how you know that I'm a baby girl for true, and I'm a baby girl for life. I could get the views and the listens up on this podcast very, very easily if I said the real reason that you lot need to be watching Philip very, very closely. Like, that court case with his brother, it get as he be. Like, without saying too much, that's all I'll say. That is all I say. But I know that it's a very thin line that I could cross right now, and then the views and the listens would spike of this, because what I'm saying is not untrue. It is the truth, but it's going to put other people and expose other people in ways that they do not deserve to be exposed. But all I need you to remember is, like I said before, this guy is not a good guy. He's not. So save your tears, sister. Save your tears. Behave. But what we won't have is you, Petronella You, Boris Shagger Petronella Wyatt, talking about,
why are presenters crying on TV these days? It's embarrassing. Where's their dignity? Where's the
dignity? Dignity, Petronella. Are you alright? Come on now. Petronella, come on now. You want to talk about dignity? You who has tasted Boris Johnson's cum, you want to talk about dignity? Even gargling his semen while he was married to his wife who was experiencing cancer. You want to talk about dignity? You wouldn't know dignity if it slapped you across the face or with its testicles. You wouldn't know. Shut up about embarrassing. What's embarrassing is sleeping with somebody, first of all, who's married, but sleeping with somebody who's married and looks like Boris, smells like Boris, smelling like wet pennies, smelling like a damp raincoat that's been just and that's been left in a moldy basement. You have had that man blow your back out. Boris, blow my back out, Johnson. You have had this guy blow your back out, but you want to talk to people about dignity and embarrassing. Behave yourself. We do not live in the same house. You live in embarrassing and lacking dignity. You live in that house. Don't try and invite anybody else over. That's your house, baby. That's your house, Petronella. Petronella, wild girl. Behave yourself, idiot. So, like, with Alison, like, just don't bring Bible verses into things. But maybe this is why so many people use Bible verses, because it just allows them to talk some fuckery. This isn't about an affair, you know. If it was about an affair, everybody would have moved on. He wouldn't have lost everything. Consider that people might know more than you know, because I'm giving you the kind of benefit of the doubt that you don't know the extent of this man's fuckery, which is why you're barling. And even if you felt that conflict, like, rah, the person I know, the person I'm seeing the media describe, save your tears for the group chat, my darling. Save your tears for your loved ones, not on national TV, because what it seems like is like you're being complicit in trying to paint him in a particular way that is rather dangerous for the rest of us, but very beneficial to him. So, Alison, sister, take him easy. That's all I'll say to you. Just take him easy, like, wind it in. And as for Philip, then there was a newspaper kind of headline where he sat with his mum, his old mum, on a bench. And the headline sort of like, oh, he sits with his mum and breaking the news to her about being sacked from This Morning. So the camera people just happened to be there while he sat on a random bench in a random park. They just happened to be there. And his mum didn't receive this news before. Family members hadn't called to tell her that he'd been sacked. This is when she's suddenly discovering it. All the interviews that he's doing that's what's embarrassing and lacking dignity. You look ridiculous and your hair's dusty. And I know that he did that intentionally as well, to kind of give this disheveled, like, oh my God, look at me. And then he mentioned Caroline Flack at one point when he was being interviewed, talking about, oh, well, is that what you want, for me to not be here anymore? Like Caroline Flack, I understand what Caroline Flack was going through now, because it's been never ending. You have been dealing with this for 1 week. 1 week. What the fuck are you talking about? And then trying to bring in homophobia and this, that. No, like, understand the charges that you're trying to beat in a court of public opinion. Understand the charges that you're trying to beat, the allegations that you're trying to beat. Don't try and make it something else. Don't try and convolute the conversation. Like, your PR team are working hard and the devil is clearly helping you, but I rebuke it. I absolutely rebuke it. You're pathetic. So I guess that's that. That is that for So You Mad. So I might as well jump to Straw of the Week, aka Suck Your Mum. I watched something earlier on Talk TV. So I haven't really talked about this young man called Mizzy. Haven't really talked about him because I saw the videos and I was just like, something is wrong with him. Like, this is really, really disrespectful and horrid behavior. I didn't like any of the pranks. I thought they were disgusting and really, really unnerving. Absolutely ridiculous. So imagine my surprise when Piers Morgan is bringing him on his show, and then Talk TV that I've been on a few times, they're also, one of the shows now has him on as a guest. And this is what I was saying earlier, and this is why I need a lot of mainstream media, or just media generally in Britain, to suck out for an eternity. You lot are some slags. You're some slags. You're slags for ratings. That's what you lot are. You're slags for ratings. Because you're the same silly cunts, the same dumb bitches that will turn around and say, oh, we have to vet such and such before she comes on this show because she's rather controversial. Kelechi's rather controversial. Am I more controversial than Mizzy? Am I more controversial than Mizzy? No. But you know why you'll have him on the show? Because he gets lots of views. He gets millions of views. So you'll have him on. So you don't care about the controversy when it means views. You don't care. Because if those views can come to you, if they can be brought onto your show, you're loving it. You're fucking gagging for it. So you can all shut the fuck up about, oh, this person's got some controversy around them and we don't really want this and we don't really want, because you don't care about that. If my numbers were through the roof and I was exactly as I am now, or exactly as I was in the past, you'd be more than happy to have me on, because you want those views. And then you want to kind of continue a stereotype about black people that feeds the disgusting imaginations of your predominantly white demographic, your white public. That's why you want it. Because there's no reason why any of these people are having him on their show, if not to get off this weird like obsession that white mainstream media seems to have with black people, especially black people who are behaving badly. And then they then want to use that as a sort of catalyst to then get off all the vitriolic things they've always wanted to say about black people generally, but make it out like they're saying it about this person specifically. You're not slick. You're not smart, and your shirt's too tight. So anyway, let me see if I can even get, I don't think I can bring this up on my phone. I need to learn how to use more of what I've got available on this thing, because I know I can make it absolutely sick, but don't have time right now. I'm going to play you the audio though, I believe. Let me see if I can get the audio up. So this is an interview that Mizzy was on with Talk TV. I'll play the first part, because the first part, he had them up and he basically said what I've just said. Oh, for So You Mad, I was meant to talk about Chika. Okay, I've got to do this and I've got to kind of talk about that, but I'm not giving her straw of the week because, I don't know, I just feel awkward. But basically, Mizzy was on saying that, oh, well, you have me on because you lot want the ratings. This is why I'm here. Let's see if it'll play. Hold on.
Why are you upset?
Because I have a message.
What's
the
your
whole
message?
world. So you see you guys right now, you're using a script in it. You're basically working up by the end of the day. No script.
No, it's not a script.
No, it is script. Well,
I have a script here.
Oh,
yeah.
He does have a script.
I'm a man with a script. I'm an actor at the end of the day. I'm an actor with a script.
Okay.
And I have something I want to say.
Go for it.
This is a message to everyone. And to get where I am right now to spread this message, I needed to do things in a different way. In a way a lot of people wouldn't agree on. I have remorse, and I know when to take accountability for my actions in my personal life. When I'm Bakari, not when I'm showing you Mizzy on the internet. I don't condone what I do, nor do I tell anyone to repeat any of my actions. People need to understand and learn to detach social media from real life. As social media is just one big game. And Mizzy, this online persona I created, is literally social proof that society is weak and that the public is manipulated by media and swayed away from the truth so easily. Attention is seen as the purest form of generosity, and Mizzy is exactly what is wrong with this new online modern day society. You're all capitalizing on Mizzy right now. This interview literally has Mizzy on the headlines, bro, and you're making money over my appeal to the public, whether it's good or bad. Think about it. The only reason I've been making news and headlines for so long is because I'm young, black and doing something different. And the mainstream media think they can use me as an example, put me on TV so I can make a fool out of myself and appeal to this stereotype. It's a simple distraction technique used by the mainstream media to divert attention from the real problems in this country. If I wasn't the TikTok terror or done what I needed to do, would I be on this show right now or even on Piers Morgan? It's all propaganda at the end of the day. All these online personalities have had their own fair share of controversies, worse than mine even, and still have a platform, and that's because we give it to them with any type of attention. I'm just a teen from these rough areas. As journalists, it's your job to be highlighting the misery of people in this country and figuring out what the causes are instead of bringing some TikToker that makes silly pranks onto your show for views and ratings. It's all about painting a picture in your mind. Mainstream media have been doing it for years, and they get their paycheck by writing numerous articles, posting controversial videos, and twisting stories to change the audience's narrative.
Well. Didn't the baby boy say what the baby boy needed to say? And I stress again, I do not agree with any of his pranks at all. At all. There's no justification for any of the fuckery, no justification. But whoever wrote that for him, you said all of the things that needed to be said. I could not have said it any better myself. Whenever people say that, I'm like, why did you think you could initially? But whatever, like, I could not have said it any better myself. That is what we're dealing with now. Like, you can be a fully, I'm going off tangent, but go with me. It's a wild ride. You could be a fully trained actor, be a bad boy actor. But if you don't have a certain number of followers, do you think you're ever smelling a film or this or that? Because the production companies now want you to have a following so they can use. So what they're going to do, they're going to go to the people that have large followings that make videos. Not that they're not talented enough necessarily to be there, but a lot of them might not have had the training that you've had. You might be like, do we need training? Essentially, I think you do, because I'm noticing, sorry, the hay fever. I'm noticing on set, on various like different sets, and having friends saying to me as well when they're on set, that people who haven't trained, like, they do certain things and it's just like, oh, just try and do like a short course or something, because there is some kind of etiquette that one needs to abide by, and people don't have it. It's a craft. It is a craft. It is. So I just bring that up randomly. Well, not randomly, because I think it pertains to this. There are actual talking heads. There are actual experts. There are actual pundits that you can have on the shows to talk about specific things. And what I hate about this fucking country is that when it comes to white people, they get white people who are experts or who are well-versed in whatever field it is to come and talk about a particular thing as it pertains to that field. When it comes to black people, they'll get anybody to come and talk about it, but usually the person or the people who aren't going to push back too much, if at all, or they're going to help them further their narrative that they're trying to push. That's why they like Chipmunk Face. And she goes on there to go and do all of their right-wing propaganda. But if Chipmunk Face ever decided that she was going to say something that had a modicum of sense and push back against them, she's not coming back on any shows. You know? Back to District. That was so shady. But it's going to touch on what I want to talk about later on. Like, don't mention people's family and their children. Missy said all the things that he needed to say, and if you saw their face, I'll see if maybe Jonathan's going to put a clip, but you need, like, just the face of Andy Walker, who was the white man presenter, and whatever that one's name was that was sat next to him with her cross cleavage situation that she had going on. Baby, that is way too much eyeliner. Maybe that's why you couldn't see the fuckery that was happening right in front of you. That is way too much eyeliner, darling. Take it down a few notches, okay? They were incensed because they were looking for the dumb black Negro that would come on their show and just act up and then get them the viewings that they so clearly desperately need, because we know you need them viewings. Look at that ugly, wretched three-piece suit that you're wearing. We know that you need them views. And I don't know where you got that dress, that turquoise shine something that you're wearing, but I'm just going to keep my mouth shut, okay? So they thought that they were going to get a particular thing out of him, and they didn't. Like, is this what you should be focusing on? There's wild shit happening in our country right now, but you're all bringing this boy around and trying to rile him up so you can get views. You're all slags. You're all stupid slags for ratings. That's what you lot are. And then the guy decides, Andre Walker, decides that he's going to push back and get very, very wild and loud with Missy because he claimed that he glared in a threatening manner towards the girl, or sorry, the woman that was sat next to him, I guess, who was another guest. And even the loaded language of saying that he glared at her in a threatening manner, you're trying to characterize him in a way that he has made it possible for you to do. But he wasn't glaring at her in any threatening manner. But you know that you can run that narrative, so you can shout at him because you're vexed because he just called you out in a way that you do not like, because he called the game for what the game actually is. And now you're stressed. And now your shirt collar is looking mighty tight with that stupid, what do they call that tie that you're wearing? It's even gone out of my mind, but you look ridiculous. You look like a dumb bitch. Anyway, let me play this.
You can do that to me. You're not doing it to a guest. You stare at another... You can do that to me. You're not doing it to a guest. You stare at another guest again, and I'm going to personally remove you. I'm not taking the mick. I'm not taking the mick. You glared at her in a threatening fashion. You do that, I'll drag you out by the hair, and you can be as hard as you pretend you are. You can be as hard as you pretend you are. You apologise to her right now, or you're leaving.
You know I respect you, but I'm done here.
Good riddance to bad rubbish. Threatening guests does not happen on my show under any circumstances. Reem, I'm very sorry, but the way he glared at you is not acceptable. We never should have had him on the show. I didn't even want him here. I think the guy's a complete and total fool. And the fact that I attempted to have a sensible interview with an idiot like that is absolutely disgusting.
Get him out of here.
Security, get the security from downstairs and get rid of him. Get rid of him, for Christ's sake.
Do you know what?
Get rid of him.
And Andre starts throwing shit. He's slamming a table. He's doing all sorts. Where is the duty of care? To the producers of Talk TV, where is the duty of care? You invited somebody on your show, whether their views are controversial or not. Because what gets me is that you have right-wing fascist motherfuckers on you lot's shows, racist ass bitches on your show all the time. All the time. They're never treated with such disrespect. What makes it okay to treat a black boy in this way? If not for the fact that you're fucking gagging for it. This is so clearly racist that you want to pass this naughty black boy around so you can kind of explode your anger at him, and you feel like it's just because, oh, he did a bad thing, or he did a bad thing or has been doing bad things, so you can get away with it. But really, that anger is not just directed at him. It's clear to see. You're slamming the table and then you're throwing your script or whatever at the screen. Get him out of here. I'll drag you out by your hair. That is a threat. Your presenter threatened somebody on your show. Where is the duty of care? Because he didn't play along how you were hoping he was going to play along. So you still needed to get drama one way or another. Fuck you lot. Fuck you lot. You dusty, nasty bitches. Fuck you lot. I'll be damned if I ever come on your show again. If I ever come on Talk TV again. Wallahi. Like, if I ever come back again. What the fuck? How is that okay? Wow. Wow, you can suck out. And I'm so glad that Mizzy didn't rise to the antagonization. He was just like, all right, cool, I'm out. He just got up and left. And in that moment, I saw the boy in him. I saw the boy in him that has a bit of sense, where he just looked at the way he was spoken to and he went. I think he apologized or said something to the girl and he bounced. And then that girl was like, oh, thank you, thank you. He glared at her in a threatening fashion. These times, I bet he just probably looked at her like, you know, like the way that we would just look at somebody who's saying their own thing that's slightly mad or whatever the case may be. I don't know. But he glared at her in a threatening fashion. Who are you to call that? You're saying he glared at her in a threatening fashion, but you're all right to say that you're going to drag him out by his hair. You're all right to call him an idiot, and you're all right to slam the table and throw shit at the screen. That's okay. It takes me back. And the thing is, you as a production, as a company, as in Talk TV, like, you're not going to address this and you're just going to let it run. You think that this stuff is okay until somebody slaps one of your presenters in the face. Then you're going to realize that it's actually serious out here. And it reminds me of what I was saying about Emma Barnett. The fact that the BBC, and I'll never, ever, ever let this rest. The fact that the BBC could lie and say that this woman did not swear about fucking Kelechi Okafor. Why the fuck is she coming onto this? She was allowed to say that. But you went out to the public, you went out to the masses and said that that was never said. That you can categorically say that there was no swearing. And this is why it will never ever be good for any of you in your lives. And every time that I have to re-up that curse, I'm gonna load it up. It will never ever be well for you lot. And anybody that even rolls with Emma, as far as I'm concerned, you're a prick as well. Because how she's able to get away with that and all the other things that she's done, you lot are nasty. Nasty behaviour all around. And the BBC condoning it and protecting her on top of that, fuck you all for an eternity. Fuck you. Anyway, back to what I should have said in So You Mad. And again, I've got to say that I don't condone what this person did. I just think how everything's playing out makes me feel a teeny bit uncomfortable. So Chika, who you know as, she's a rapper from America, Nigerian American. She's gone viral a few times because, a number of times even, because of her lyrics that people, you know, people quote and people love. I don't know, I think she might have deleted the tweets or she's deactivated her page, but I really wanted to try and find what she said. Let me see if I can find it. 1 second. Here we go. So I found this thing that covers it. It says here, Chika has once again come under fire for her controversial opinions, and this time a crying child on an airplane has earned her wrath. Taking to Twitter on Thursday, June the 1st, the Nigerian-American rapper began rage tweeting about a set of baby twins whose mother purchased first-class tickets for them and who, as babies often do, began crying on the flight. It was the crying that woke the Alabama-based rapper up and triggered her into a several tweets long rant. She said, "The lady next to me who thought it would be a good idea to buy yourself and your twin infants first-class tickets on a red-eye flight, who just woke me up by bringing your screaming bastard to our seats to soothe her. I just bought $34 worth of Wi-Fi at or $34 Wi-Fi at 4 a.m. to call you a stupid bitch." She began, "P.S. I hate you and I hope you get a paper cut between each finger tomorrow, you senseless wench." Yeah, it was a lot. She wrote that and the PS, and then she goes on to say, like, "Are you literally mentally delayed? What makes you think a 1-year-old will shut their bitch ass up on a 7-hour flight that takes off at 1 fucking a.m. You already had them up past bedtime. I don't care the circumstance. Take your ass to economy at least. I'm so pissed off right now. I already had trouble falling asleep, and as soon as I do, you bring the consequence of your sexual promiscuity into my life. I got noise cancellation on and I still woke up. Fuck you, ho. Choke." Now, this is challenging. Like I said, this should have been in So You Mad, so you've got to stay with me. I followed Chika for years, and I definitely empathize with a lot of the with her for the vitriol that she's received online over the years. But this wasn't cool. This was wild and rather disgusting, because I know as a parent that takes their child onto some form of public transport, whether it's a plane, whether it's a train, whatever, and that child decides that they've got to get their feelings out and there's nothing you can do, and even you as a parent, you already feel awkward. So to feel that awkwardness and then to come online and see that somebody's called your child a bastard for crying, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I'm going to have to fuck your shit up. Like, I'm going to have to. Like, I'm going to have to rip you a new asshole. Like, I'm going to have to rearrange your jaw. You're calling my child a bastard? And then talk about sexual promiscuity and then take those children to economy. It's baby, it's giving classes, it's giving so many things that we shouldn't be giving after all of the things that we have been through as Black women. That is not the behavior that we should be exhibiting. And then to say, "Oh, but it's because of my mental illness." And again, be responsible. We understand that sometimes with mania and having manic depression that it expresses itself and it comes out in different ways in different people. But as a number of people who also experience manic depression have stressed to you, this ain't it. This was just simply cruel. and then to then go back online and say, well, it's either I tweeted that about those children and got it off my chest, or I do what I did the last time, trigger warning, suicidal ideations. It's either that or I do what I did the last time, where I go and stand on the top of a building and go, I'm going to jump. Like, babe, I'm sorry that you're going through the things that you're going through. It is never okay to call somebody else's child, somebody else's baby, a bastard for crying on a 7-hour flight, as you fucking just pointed out yourself. They are little children. Like, what? Like, have some empathy, have a heart. Like, what? Do you think that in the grand scheme of things, the mum or the parent who's with them wanted them to be crying? Do you think that they're sadist in that way, that they brought them on to have them start crying? Like, come on, be for real. I say all of that, but baby, it got worse for our sis Chika. It got worse. So you have and this is another thing why it was just very, very irresponsible. You know that you have hundreds of thousands of followers. That is not you tweeting into a void. If you wanted to say something so wild, you could have gotten your $34 Wi-Fi. See, and this is the thing, you should have just kept to not having Wi-Fi. Because you went to go and pay the $34 for that Wi-Fi, look at where you've now found yourself. Can you see the wahala that you found yourself in? Odikwa mad thing. So you went and bought that Wi-Fi. You should have used that Wi-Fi to WhatsApp your brethren and say, rah, look at what's happening. You could have written that in your group chat. You could have written that somewhere else. You could have even, not that I condone it, because you all know that I hate people with burners and I hate burner accounts generally, but you could have jumped on your burner and written it there and just gotten it out of your system, but you wanted to write it so your audience could see that, and you didn't think it was going to get back to somebody. How many red-eye flights are leaving at a particular time? Lord. So anyway, it did, in fact, it did in fact get to where it needed to get to, because the mum of one of the children did see it. So basically what had happened was, let's see, Zonique, who is, I think she's T.I., is she T.I. and Tiny's daughter? I think so. Zonique's child was traveling, let me just read it to you. It says, wait, I'm in tears. This is what Zonique wrote. Wait, I'm in tears. Not Chikaboo. Was mad. My child was cutting up in first class. You should have just sat there and be mad, babe. She's sky priority as fuck. So, and somebody else wrote, this is crazy because Chika has been arguing for days that the lady she berated would never see her tweets, and there was no possible way it would reach the woman or ever go past just internet venting. LMAO, what are the odds it was Zonique all along? That is bad luck. That is bad luck. Because T.I. isn't going to take that very kindly. So it seems like Zonique, let me see if this article even covers it. I don't even know if they've said it. Yeah, they haven't mentioned anything. But T.I., the baby father, or the father of one of the children, Sha, was like, oh, what's your address? And that's what you don't want to happen. When people start asking for your location, if you send me your location and I'll be right there, that's what we don't want. Okay, I think that this is going to tell us more because, you know, I don't be staying up with pop culture the way that I should. Yeah, T.I., it was T.I.'s daughter, Zonique. Chika is facing backlash for her Twitter rant about screaming infants on a flight, but unbeknownst to her, one of those kids' mother was T.I.'s daughter, Zonique. They talk about all the things that she wrote. She also called the mother a hoe and urged her to choke as well in her Twitter rant. After deleting her tweets, Chika doubled down on her remarks and apologized to anyone who was offended, posting, "Because I think it's important and because I understand that people who actually do want to support me were also offended by my inflammatory thread yesterday," she wrote. "I'm sorry because it was triggering / infuriating to many. I just don't like being seen as someone I'm not." But in a strange twist of fate, one of the mothers of those infants was Tip's daughter, Zonique Pollins. She caught wind of Chika's acerbic tweet and responded. In her tweet, the singer shared a video of her twins sitting in first class and watching a children's show with their headphones on. Zonique wrote, I told you what she wrote. Then it goes on to say the other infant was a niece related to Zonique's child, and she was the one crying on the plane. According to the mother, Tamara Zachary, she hopped on her Instagram page on Saturday, June 3rd, and explained what happened on the flight. Although Tamara acknowledged how frustrating it can be to having to deal with a crying baby on a long flight, she was not expecting someone to go on a rant and write disparaging remarks about her child on social media. She wrote, "I truly thought an overnight flight would be the best, being the girls would sleep straight through. Sleep straight through it after wearing them out, and honestly it worked until my 2-year-old niece woke up startled in pure darkness, forgetting where she was," she explained in her message on Instagram. "So I comforted her with kisses and rocked her back to sleep. It may have looked like a little bit of a struggle because I'm also 5 months pregnant. Bystanders never give concern to the mum who's actually having to deal with the crying baby while worrying about their grown ass too." Exactly. It's really the worst feeling. And then this bitch who was never even supposed to be sitting next to me goes on her phone and rants and calls my niece a bastard and a little bitch. She continued, "I can't wait to see this hoe on the next first class flight. It's on because people are so indenture to children, and just because they kids don't mean they don't deserve to fly first class too." I hear it. After Zonique addressed the airplane incident on Twitter, it sparked even more angry reactions towards Chika for her harsh tweets about the infant. As of now, Chika has put her account on private, but it's not stopping the backlash of people thinking Chika was talking about Zonique's child in her Twitter rant. Not like finding out Chika was talking about Zonique, a black woman with black kids, really says a lot about her language was so coded. Wench, bastard, hoe, sexual promiscuity. Like, oh my God, I should have known. That evil ass bitch is so anti-black. The people just wrote lots of things. Why this is really challenging is because it was just all terrible on her part. And I think somebody then wrote something about, while all of this was happening, or the person wrote, right, while this was happening, you saw me comforting her. You even looked over and said, "Oh, she's so cute." And then you have the audacity to then smell while being next to me as well. Like, they went in. I don't like it because people's inherent misogynoir and anti-blackness as it pertains to darker skinned black women really gets to come out at this time, and you really just gave them an open goal. You gave them a fucking open goal, because now they'll move mad and they'll be like, well, you caused it. Look at the horrible things you said. And nobody can actually defend you, because it's just wild. And I keep like her describing Tamara, the one that was actually with the children, describing that she was 5 months pregnant, having her niece plus 2 other children, I think, did she say, traveling with her, and there was no 1-year-old. There was just a lot going on, and she's trying her best to get these children where she needs to get them to. And then one starts crying, like, what do you expect her to do? And then your hatred is towards her because you can't get enough sleep. Honestly, I'm very, very measured with what I say, because, like I said, I respect the fact that I followed you for years. But that was a very, very wild move, and it should not be replicated again. That was just not on. Well, my actual last straw of the week goes to, who do you think? Who do you think? What organisation is going to get it this week? God, you lot are terrible. It goes out to the police again. Ooh. And while I'm at it, my thoughts are with the people of Senegal and all of the things that are happening right now. I'm praying protection over everybody. Yeah, shit's just wild. And then the people of India that lost their lives in the train crash. It's a lot. My last straw of the week goes out to the Metropolitan Police? It's the Metropolitan Police for £1,000. Met Police put spit hood on a 90-year-old woman and pointed taser at her. A 90-year-old black woman was handcuffed and had a spit hood placed over her head and a taser pointed at her by the Metropolitan Police. The woman was reportedly left with cuts and bruises to her wrists and one of her arms after being restrained at her home in Peckham, southeast London, on 9th of May. She was handcuffed behind her back, had a mesh spit hood placed over her head and a taser trained on her before she was taken to hospital without being arrested. The IOPC is investigating the incident. One officer has been suspended and barred from using a taser, while 5 others have been placed on restricted duties so they have no contact with the public. If you're finding that more and more of your police officers have to be restricted from having contact with the public, guess what you have to do to that police force? Guess. Put it in a bin. The Met said officers were called to an address in SE15 on the 9th of May after reports of a disturbance between a woman and her carer. A spokesperson said the Met officers attended and identified a 90-year-old lady who was distressed. After officers attempted to engage with her, she was restrained using handcuffs and a spit hood applied after it was alleged one officer was spat at. The woman was then taken to hospital. She was not arrested. During the course of the incident, an officer issued a red dot challenge with their taser but did not discharge it. The IOPC launched an investigation on the 17th of May after the Met's Directorate of Professional Standards referred the case to the watchdog. A family member of the woman who has been allowed to watch footage of what happened from the officer's body-worn video cameras. DCS Seb Ajay Addo, who is in charge of policing in the borough of Southwark, said the incident raised a number of questions. There are limits to what I'm able to say in relation to this incident, given it is now subject to an IOPC investigation. However, it is clear that this will have been a distressing experience for the lady involved and that the circumstances raise a number of questions that need to be answered, he said. While I do not wish to prejudge this process, officers know that they must be able to justify any use of force or restraint, and we will expect that the officers involved in this. We will expect that of the officers involved in this incident. They also know that we expect them to show compassion and to adjust their approach in real time according to the circumstances they are faced with. An IOPC spokesperson confirmed it was investigating and added, "We have also received a public complaint concerning the level of force that was used and the injuries it is alleged the woman sustained, including cuts and bruising on both of her wrists and one arm. We've been in touch with the woman's family to explain our role." Honestly, fuck you. Is it not in Peckham a few weeks ago, whenever it was, that you basically dashed a black man off from 5 floors? Was that not just a little while ago? We have a problem. The policing, let's speak specifically to Britain, is not doing what it's doing what you as in the government want it to do, but it's not going to be able to do that for much longer because people are going to get very, very vexed. Very vexed. And there are people, I do believe, who are in the police force that genuinely want to do good. But baby, you're going to have to listen to me. I don't think that the Met Police is where, or any police force is where you're going to do that good. I just don't think so. I don't. Why the fuck are you putting a spit hood on a 90-year-old woman and then pointing a taser at her? If she had a heart attack now, what will you now say? What will you say? Just suck out, honestly. Suck out and choke. Yeah? Choke. That's all I've got. Whew. You'll notice I haven't mentioned anything about the Birmingham live show because, again, they took ages to sort the things out. I think we can just call it. We could just call it. I've got way too much to do to be chasing down the things. I'm too much of a baby girl for this kind of stress. I'm too much of a baby girl. And what is meant to be will eventually be. That's what I believe. When it's meant to happen, it will all be so smooth and lovely. keep doing what I've asked you to do. Get your tickets for the live show in September at the Barbican, as well as pre-order my book Edge of Here. If you can, please still continue to donate to through a monthly giving to the children's home so I can actually finish this thing. God. And yeah, if you want to support also, you can jump on Patreon, patreon.com/Kelechi Okafor. And yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah, I think I did well. No, I probably didn't do well. This is probably still a 2-hour episode. Anyway, that's that from me. I've been Kelechi Okafor, and this has been SYM, officially known as Say Your Mind, unofficially known as What? That's right, Suck Your Mum. Whew, I'm out. Catch you on the flip side. Peace!
It's the Benz Brunani womanist, baby boys, baby girls, you need to hear this. Sit down, receive this realness. Make sure your cup's ready for the tea, we are go sip it, yo. Hot time scrolling for your long throats. You might learn something you never know. Collect you fine, and she's one of a kind. Don't say you're mine, say you're mine.